Hey friends, welcome to the part 6. Some people requested to continue putting these contents for 104, which is the Azure Administrator certification. It costs $165. The exam was last updated in October 2022, and this is what they ask, the percentage split. So the maximum percentage you can see is in these two areas: manage compute resources and networking. So if you have not yet subscribed, please do so. So many people have passed the certifications. If you are an Azure architect, Azure data engineer, you should go for this certification. This will give you an understanding of how the identities and governance work, how do you manage storage, compute resources, virtual networking, and how do you monitor the resources. This is very crucial. So please do refer this playlist. There are a lot of questions in parts 1 to 5. You can refer that. So let us look at this question now. This is a question on import export service. See, if you have very large amount of data, suppose you were operating on premises for a very long time and now you want to move to cloud. So this is the process. So you order a box, the box comes to you, you copy the data, then you kind of ship it, then the hard drives, it will reach the data center, the data is copied to Azure, then the hard drives are packaged for return shipping, and the hard drives are shipped back to the customer. So this entire stuff is used to copy large amounts of data. And where do you store? What are the targets? Either a blob storage or Azure files. So you are copying from the drives to blob storage or Azure files. I repeat, you will copy from the disk drives to blob storage or Azure files. In AWS world, you have something called Snowball. Import export is similar to this. Here also we copy the data to the device, ship it back to AWS. AWS copies it in the AWS cloud network and so on. Now the question here is asking, before you copy the files, which two files should you create before you prepare the drives? You have the drives, you are trying to prepare it, but what two files are important? See, manifest file is wrong because it just gives you some details or some information about your application. So I am on a tutorial which tells you how to transfer data to Azure files with Azure import. Okay. See, there is a section clearly. You have to first prepare the drives, then you create an import job. Import means whatever you have on premises, you are going to put on the disk, and then you ship the drives to Azure data center. And once you do that, you will update the job with tracking information, like whatever your courier tracking and so on. Now you will verify the data upload to Azure. So once your drives are received, they will copy the data in Azure files or Azure blob storage. Then you can go to Azure and verify is it all okay or not. So when you are preparing the drives, see, you see here data set CSV file. This is what you need, because the question asks which two files. This is the first file, and depending on whether you want to import a file or folder, add entries in the dataset CSV similar to the following examples. So you have to create this entry, such entry. Okay. And then the second file you have is a drive set file, and it has list of disks and corresponding drive letters, so that the tool can correctly pick the list of disks. Like, you have to put the data in disks. So how many disks are there? Example you see here, they have two disks that are attached. So G drive and H drive. Okay. And then H is not encrypted and G is already encrypted. So you can have those details mentioned here. Okay. So this one they have created for one which is not encrypted. So this is the one which is not encrypted, and so that's why you just see encrypt here, not encrypted, and here it is already encrypted. So you see this command here already encrypted. Okay. So we have our two answers. These two are our answers. See, JSON configuration file, option C. So this is used to store environment settings, like database connection string and so on. It is not useful for such scenarios where you have to kind of do a snowball of the data. Then you have PowerShell PS1 file. So this is basically used to run scripts, any scripts in the Azure world or cloud world. Here we are not talking about running scripts. We are talking about which two files are important. So we have our answers here. These two would be my answers. See here, this is the next question, and you have a recovery service vault. What is it used for? So I am at the documentation screen. In simple word, it is used to store data. That's all. It is used to store data. Now the data is typically copies of data or configuration information for virtual machines or workloads or workstations. That means it is storing copy. Copy, what is copy? In our world, in the cloud world, copy means why are we taking a copy? Because we want to take a backup. So Vault we usually use to secure the backup data. You want see once you have taken a backup, now you cannot in the earlier days I remember we used to take backups in CD drives, and after some time that CD used to just loiter anywhere in the bedroom, drawing room, somewhere. Okay, that is not how it has to be done in the cloud world, so it has to secure it. Now these guys have created backups of two virtual machines. Okay, so these are two virtual machines. Now they are saying, boss, I want to delete the recovery service vault. See, you created a vault, you had backups, now you are saying I want to get rid of this service vault. What should we do first? Maybe there is a reason, right? You have an old backup, you don't no longer need that. You want to free up some space. So option A is saying they will first delete the backup data. Okay, they will first delete that. But a live backup is already happening. No? So you can delete the backup data which is already backed up. But what about the current backup that is happening? You should stop that first, right? That is why A is wrong and D is correct, because the first thing we will do is we will stop the backup of each item. Okay, then we will go and try to delete the backup data or whatever. Now C is telling that we will modify the locks of virtual machine. See, why do you lock? Because you want people should not delete, or you want certain things to be read only. They should not overwrite it. That's why you lock. So what does backup does? It will read. So lock will only help you. The reads will continue. So this is not going to help you, because there is no way that, see, you have to do something with the backup, stopping the backup and etc. Okay. Now B says we will modify the disaster recovery properties of virtual machine. See, to take the backup, we enroll for backup service. We don't go for disaster recovery service. So this option does not fit the bill here. So this would be my final answer. Okay, now let us look at the next question. This question is saying that you already have a subscription named subscription 1, and you have to transfer 5 terabyte of data. So forget subscription 1. Okay, forget it, because this is a noise and extra information. What you have to focus is the story, the key of the story. You have to focus on Rajnikant. You don't have to focus on other characters. So who's Rajnikant here? Rajnikant is import export job. We already discussed this job is used to move your data from on premises. OP means on premises. You know this OP, on premises, to Azure. We have to move it. We have to move it. So if you use network, it will be very slow. You can do it on the internet if you have small data, but we use import export for very large data like terabytes, 700 GB, 1 terabyte, 10 terabytes, 100 terabytes, that kind of volume. So the hero of this question is import export job. They are asking, boss, I have 5 terabyte of data. I have to move 5 terabyte from this place to this place. Now, where in this place in Azure, where should I put? See, we are in the documentation section. It already says we move it to blob storage or we move it to files, Azure files. So in the solution here, we do not have blob storage. You see here in these 4 options, blob storage is not here, but we have file storage. So file storage is my answer. Okay, this is our answer. Now you might ask, hey, can you please tell why we cannot move it on virtual machine? Why we cannot put it on Cosmos DB? Before that, try to understand what is Azure file. See, it is a file share, simple. It is a managed file share. You don't have to do anything, provision You don't have to provision compute storage. It will do it automatically. Okay, it works with server message block protocol. Mostly Windows based systems, they use SMB protocol, and NFS protocol is used by Linux also. Linux uses it. So this is your file share. So you can put it on a file share. Whatever data you copied, you put it on a file share. Now see, virtual machine is not meant for storage only. Okay, it is meant for compute plus storage. Okay, so this is wrong, because see, virtual machine, you will store it in a block store of the virtual machine, and you would pay more. If you have so much of terabyte of data, you would pay more. So first thing, in the certification exam, you should remember, you should only choose service which is meant for that purpose. In this case, we have to choose a service which is meant only for storage, only for storage. Okay. Similarly, B, Cosmos DB. Why do we use Cosmos DB? This is your database on steroids or on Viagra. If you want high performance, everybody nowadays wants high performance, so they will go for Cosmos DB. Who will go? You see applications like Uber. Uber will go here because you will not wait. Your customers, Uber's customers, will not wait for a long time to book a cab. So Uber will use such databases. Now, other thing is file sync storage sync service. See, you can use this to centralize things. File sync, UI to use. You have files in Azure Files, then you also have it on your premises file server. So you can use this to centralize your organization's file share. So in hybrid cloud, what happens? Hybrid cloud means people will be on premises also, and they will be on Azure also, on cloud also. Okay. See, earlier everybody was saying, hey, you shut down your on premises, move everything to cloud. But for the last 1 year, now people have realized that is not possible. They don't want to do that. So hybrid is the new mantra. That means some applications will be on premises, some will be on cloud. So that means there will be some file shares from on premises, just like this is explaining here in the documentation. Some will be in Azure files, and you have to now centralize. You have to centrally manage it. Otherwise, it's a chaos. So your life should not be in chaos. That's why you have this file sync service. See, file sync will not help you with moving your data from on-premises. Now you will say, hey, I have my on-premise. No, file sync means your data will be in on-premises file share also, or your data may be in Azure files also. Okay, so both you can see in one view. Uh, in order to transfer the data, see, you see, this is transferring the data. Transfer, see, file sync and transfer is different. Transfer means I will give it to you, and I will shut down whatever I had here. That means on-premises will send the data to Azure and say, now I will not hold it. Now the data is in Azure. But file sync means the file will continue to reside on-premises. They may or may not send it to Azure. So this is the final answer. So if you have not yet subscribed, please do so. There are approximately 500 plus videos. That means close to 2500 to 3000 questions on certifications, various certifications: AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, Snowflake, Tableau, and so on. See, there is also a join button below this video, or you can go to the link in the description. You click that link if you want access to more questions around various certifications, important questions. You go for a cloud kernel membership, very small premium, but you will gain access to tons of content. Stay tuned, stay focused. We will see you in the next part.